All right, I'm going to go over the material of test 2. And it's very important to know that we are dealing with linear equations, graphing, x-intercept, y-intercept, slope, system of equation, parallel lines, and perpendicular lines. Let's start with a simple example. What if y equals 2x plus 5? Now, just by looking at this equation, this is what I can discuss. I can say this is a slope intercept equation of a line. I can say that 2 is the slope of the line. 2 is the slope of the line, the direction of the line. And also I can say that 0, 5 is my y-intercept. Using this information, I can graph this line. So let me go ahead and graph this line. This is the y-axis and this is the x-axis. Now, since this line has a y-intercept at 0, 5, I can graph 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the point or the y-intercept 0, 5. Because the slope is 2 over 1, I can rise 2 and run 1. So the slope is the rise over the run. So from this point 0, 5, I can go up 2 units and then go to the right 1. Up is positive, to the right is positive. And this point is going up, this becomes 7, and to the right becomes 1. And this is 1, 7. Now that we have 2 points, I can graph the line having the 0, 5 and the 1, 7 as my 2 points. Let's go ahead and graph the line. And so this would be the graph of the line y equals 2x plus 5. We are having 2 points, 1, 7 and 0, 5. Joining these 2 points, we end up by graphing the line. So that was what we call the slope-intercept equation of the line. It's written in the form y equals mx plus b. Of course, we should be able to find what we call the x-intercept, which is the point here where the line crosses the x-axis. It will have a y equals 0. So that point here, which is called the x-intercept, so the x-intercept is where the line crosses the x-axis and will have a y equals 0. The coordinates of y is 0. As you see, this is 0. So to find the corresponding x, we can plug it in or substitute y equals 0 and solve. So we end up with 2x equals 5, and x would be dividing both sides by 2. So, 2x equals negative 5 here, because when you say 2x plus 5 equals 0, then to move the 5 to the right side, we have to subtract 5 from both sides. And then we end up with 2x equals negative 5, and x would be negative 5 over 2, or negative 2.5. And this is where this point here, so this point is negative 5 over 2, 0 is my x-intercept. My y-intercept is 0, 5. So let me look at my checklist. So graph a line written in slope-intercept form, and we just did the first one. Graph a vertical line. Now, what do we mean by the vertical line is when we have an x equals a constant. It could be 4. So if we are given graph the line x equals 4, or they tell you graph the line 3x equals 18. So here you have to divide both sides by 3, and this will bring you to x equals 6. So anytime you have to say x equals 4, x equals 6, right away, this is the line. It's a vertical line. Let's try to plot this line. So x equals 4 or x equals 6 or x equals -5 is a vertical line. In this case, to plot x equals 4, all we have to do is come up with the 4. This is 4. But then for any 4, see here on this line, x equals 4. Any point on this line, x equals 4. So this is called the vertical line. And the equation of this line is x equals 4. Notice that if you take a point here, this point could be 4, always 4 for x, but y, let's see, y could be like 6. Here, we still have x equals 4. Now y is probably -5. So here, also x equals 4, but y is 0. So on the vertical line, always x equals 4 and y will be having different values. So that's why we have x equals 4, a vertical line. Now what is the slope of a vertical line? We can use this slope formula, which is m equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. What do I mean by that? We can take any 2 points on the vertical line and call the first one, this one, let's call it x1 sub 1, y1, x1 sub 1, y1, y sub 1, and this one, x sub 2, y sub 2. So let's assume these are the 2 points, and let's find the slope. And then we're going to go -5 minus 6 over 4 minus 4. And a number over 0 is undefined. So the slope of a vertical line is undefined. Okay, so let's remember x equals a constant is a vertical line, and this vertical line has a slope that is undefined. Let's do an example on a horizontal line where y equals, let's say, -4. So an equation where y equals -4, you can also be given something like 3y equals -15. And if you isolate y, divide by 3, then y would be -5. And so these are horizontal lines. If we try to plot those on a rectangular coordinate axis, okay, all we have to do is draw a horizontal line. Let's say we want to draw y equals -4. We can identify the y-intercept, which is 0, -4, and then draw a horizontal line going through that 0, -4. And that would be the graph of the line y equals -4. So a y equals a constant is a horizontal line, while x equals a constant is a vertical line. Okay, same for y equals -5. We can look at -5, which is somewhere here, and draw a horizontal line. And this line now is y equals -5. Notice any point on this line will have the same phi x, let's say, is 2 here. Y is going to be negative 4. See here, x is maybe 6, but y is always negative 4. So that's exactly the opposite of a vertical line. With a vertical line, x is always constant. With a horizontal line, y is always constant. And if you find the slope of the horizontal line, of course, it's y2 minus y1, negative 4 minus negative 4 over x2 minus x1, 2 minus 6. And a 0, this is negative, negative becomes plus. Negative 4 plus 4 is a 0 over negative 4 is a 0. And the slope of a horizontal line, the slope of the horizontal line is m equals 0. So now we have learned so far 3 important equations. The slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. We have learned about this is an oblique line. This is the graph of an oblique line. But if x equals a constant, let's call it k, then this is a vertical line. And the slope is undefined. Here the slope is m. This is the slope. Whatever is the coefficient of x would be the slope. On the other hand, y equals a k, another constant. This would be a horizontal line with m equals to 0. The other thing that we need to learn in this test 2 material is what we call the standard form of a line. The standard form of the equation of a line. And it's written in this format: ax plus by equals c. An example would be, let's say, 2x minus 3y equals 5. And what we need to know here is how to find the x-intercept, y-intercept, and the slope. So the question is to find the x, the y-intercepts, and how do we find the slope m for an equation given in standard form. So to find the x-intercept, always plug y equals 0. So for the x-intercept, you plug y equals 0 in the equation, and you end up with 2x equals 5, or x equals 5 over 2, and therefore the x-intercept is 5 over 2, 0. To find the y-intercept, you can do x equals 0 now. And of course, in the same equation, you substitute x equals 0. You end up with negative 3y equals 5. Divide both sides by negative 3. Y would be negative 5 over 3. And the y-intercept becomes 0, negative 5 over 3. Finally, how do you find the slope? The easy way to find the slope of a standard equation would be minus a over b. Let's remember that the slope of a line written in standard form, this is a, and this is b, and therefore minus a over b in this case would be negative 2 over negative 3. So that's a minus a over b, or negative a over b, which is 2/3. So that would be the slope of this line, 2x minus 3y equals 5. All we have to do is remember it's a minus a, or negative a over b. Negative 2 over negative 3 is 2/3. The other way would be to isolate y, move the 2x to the left. This is negative 2x plus 5, and divide everything by negative 3. Divide by negative 3 and divide by negative 3. And of course, negative 2 over negative 3 is the same as 2/3. So that would be the standard form. And to graph this line, all we have to do is plot the x-intercept, plot the y-intercept, join the 2 points, and you will be graphing the line given the equation in standard form. Let me check my list here. So we have to graph a vertical line. We did that. Graph a horizontal line. Learn how to graph a line written in standard form. And I said we find the x-intercept, we find the y-intercept, plot the 2 points, join the 2 points, and that would be the graph of the line. Find the slope of a line given 2 points. So anytime you're given 2 points, how do you find the slope? So let's get given the 2 points, 3, 5. This is 1 point. And negative 4, let's say 10. So the slope of this, of given those 2 points, is change in y over the change in x, which is the rise over the run. So change of y would be 10 minus 5 over the change of x is negative 4 minus 3. So you have to be consistent. If you start with 10 minus 5, you're going to stick to negative 4 minus 3. And this would be 5 over negative 7, or negative 5 over 7 would be the slope of the line given 2 points. Now you are given the slope. If you look at the equation, y equals mx plus b, if you find the slope, then all you have to do is find b, or the y-intercept, and then you can write the equation of the line in slope-intercept form. So let's use one of these points. Let's use this point, 3, 5. So y is 5. We know the slope is negative 5 over 7. X is 3. Again, we are substituting y is 5, x is 3, and we have found to be negative 5 over 7. So the only variable is b. The only variable is b. So to solve for b, the best way, one good way to isolate b is to simplify the fractions. We don't like fractions. So let's multiply everything by 7. This would be 35 equals negative 15 plus 7b. So multiplying 7 times 5 is 35. Multiplying 7 by all this, the 7 will cancel, and negative 5 times 3 is negative 15. And then multiplying 7 times b, that would be 7b. So to solve for b, add 15 to both sides. Start by adding 15 to both sides, and this would be 50, because 35 plus 15 is 50. These will cancel, equals 7b. And of course, b, if you divide both sides by 7, b would be 50 over 7. And knowing b, knowing the slope, the equation of the line would be y equals m, which is negative 5 over 7, x plus b, which is 50 over 7. And of course, I just took random number of points, and that's why the equation came out not simplified. Hopefully, we get a better simplified equation at the end with different problems. So that was an example on how to find the slope given 2 points. Find the x and y-intercept. So this is the slope formula. Find the x and the y-intercept. So given any equation of a line, let's give a slope-intercept equation. So let's see if you are given y equals negative 5x plus 4. And if the question is find the slope, find the x-intercept, and then find the y-intercept. So you could be asked, for those three, given any equation. Let's say this is a slope-intercept equation. Right away, I know the slope is -5. It's the coefficient of x. Right away, by looking at the equation, I know the slope is -5. I know the y-intercept is 0, 4. Just by looking at this equation, I know that the 4 here stands for the y-intercept. But we always write the y-intercept in order pairs, like 0, 4. We still have to find the x-intercept. To find the x-intercept, we're going to use the equation, substitute y equals 0 in the equation. Then we have -5x plus 4 equals 0. And of course, all we need to do is move the 4 to the right, and we're going to subtract 4 from both sides. Then we end up with -5x equals -4. And dividing both sides by -5, we will end up with x equals 4 over 5, because negative over negative will cancel. Or you would write this as order pair, or fifth, always start with x, followed by y, which is 0 in this case. So this is my x-intercept, this is my y-intercept, this is my slope. So if I want to plot this line, all I have to do is, knowing the slope, which is 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, knowing that the y-intercept is 4, knowing that the slope is -5 over 1, I can go down 5 and then to the right 1. So because 4, I can go 4 units to 0 and then 1 unit to -1. That would be going down 5 units. But then plus 1, I got to go to the right 1. So this point here has coordinates 1, -1. So all I have to do is join those two, and that would be the graph of the line. Notice because the slope is negative, the graph from left to right would be decreasing. From left to right, the graph is decreasing. See, it's going from positive to the -infinity. And that's how we graph a line given in slope-intercept form. Always plot the y-intercept, then use the rise over the run to come up with the second point. So starting with the point 0, 4, I went down 5 units because it's a -5, and then to the right 1, and then joining these 2 points, I ended up graphing the line written in slope-intercept form. See what else we have to cover here. So how do we change a standard form to slope-intercept form? We just went over it. We'll do over it one more time. Say you're given 3x minus 2y equals 6. And the question is, change the standard form to slope-intercept form. And this is by slope-intercept form where we have to isolate y. So to isolate y, we have to look at the y component and then move the 3x to the right. Subtract 3x from both sides. That's how we start isolating the y. We gotta move the 3x first. So these will cancel, then we have -2y equals -3x plus 6. Now all we have to do is move the -2 to the right, and we have to divide by -2 all terms. So this will cancel, so y would be 3/2 x negative minus 3, because 6 over -2, and this is 3/2. So what did we come up with? The slope is 3/2, and the y-intercept is 0, -3, and of course it's so easy to graph it now. All we have to do is plot the -3, go up 3 to 0, right 2, and then graph the line. So this point here could be 2, 0, and the y-intercept, of course, is 0, negative 3. So we go up 3, right 2, because both of them are positive. Up is positive, right is positive. And then we go up to 2, 0, the point 2, 0. We join the 2 points, and then we end up with the graph of the line. And this is how we move from a standard form to a slope-intercept form. Write the equation of the line given 2 points. Solve a system. Let's solve this system of linear equations. So let's see, we're given 2 equations. The question is to solve the system. Say you are given 3x minus 2y equals 10 and negative 5x plus 4y equals 3. Notice that to solve this system, we need to remove one of the variables and then solve the others. Now, how do we remove one of the variables? Now, this is 4, this is negative 2. If we multiply the first equation by plus 2, then you will end up with 6x minus 4y equals 20. Let's keep the same equation as. So multiplying the first equation by 2, you end up with 6x minus 4y equals 20. Let's keep the same equation as is. So negative 5x plus 4y equals 3. And now we can add equation 1 plus equation 2. 6x minus 5x is just x. Negative 4y plus 4y is 0. And 20 plus 3 is 23. So now we found x. To find y, all we have to do, plug x either in the first equation or the second equation. Let's plug it in the first equation. 3 times 23 minus 2y equals 10. So this is 46 minus 2y equals 10. Subtract 46 from both sides. We will end up with negative 2y equals negative 36, right? Because plus 10, we don't add, we subtract. 46 minus 10 is 36, but negative 46 is more negative. So y would be negative 36 over 2 is 18. And so the point or the solution is 23, 18. And this is where these two lines will intersect. Now these two lines will intersect at the point 23, 18. That's what we mean by solving the system of equation. We want to find, they could be parallel with no solution. They could be overlapping with infinite solution, or they could be intersecting with one point in solution. So that's how we figure out the system of linear equation. Two lines are parallel, two lines are perpendicular. Now, how do we find if two lines are parallel? So let's look at this equation. 2x plus 3y equals 7, and y equals negative 2/3 x plus 4. Remember, to find the slope of a line written in standard form, it's m equals negative a over b. In this case, negative a is negative 2 over 3. So the slope of this line is negative 2 over 3. Also, the slope of this line, negative 2 over 3. Therefore, these two lines are parallel. Two lines are perpendicular when the slope or the product of the slope is negative 1, like in this case. If you multiply these two, you get negative 6 over 6, and this is equal to negative 1. So if the two lines have slopes 3/2 and negative 2/3, then these two lines are perpendicular because the product of the slope is negative 1. Let's take an example. So y equals 3/2 x plus 5. and y equals negative 2/3 x plus 4. The slope of this line and the slope of this line are negative reciprocal with each other. Therefore, these two lines are perpendicular. Also, to be on the safe side, if you multiply them, 3/2 times negative 2/3, you will come up with -1. Therefore, these two lines are perpendicular. Hope this session helped. I'll send you the recording of the video.